Alright everybody, welcome back to another diecastmania model review. Today we're reviewing a fine crafted resin model, the Miniatures Du Faubourg or MDF Caterpillar 350 LME Mass Excavator. This model was made in extremely low quantities and could have been specially requested as either fully built or a kit. With that being said, let's move on to the functionality of this model. As an excavator, all the functions function as you would think they would. The boom raises to a decent extent, has a decent digging depth. Cylinders are actually relatively smooth. As you can see, the stick curls out, curls in, and likewise the bucket has a decent curl as well. Moving right on to the rotation of this model, as we can see it swings quite nicely, although it does get a little tighter in some certain spots. We'll take a look at the rotation again, and we can see that something is not right with this model. As you can see, the sprocket end of the undercarriage seems to be longer than the side with the idlers on it. So when you rotate the model over like this, it definitely doesn't look to be quite right. And speaking of the undercarriage, it is purely for looks. The undercarriage itself is made up of individual resin components like the rest of this model. The tracks themselves consist of several patches of several links cast together and a few individual links glued around the edges to replicate the areas that the tracks curve around the sprocket and idler. So if that bothers you, you could technically remove the tracks as they're not attached to the model very securely. And in some places you can even rock around the resin tracks on the undercarriage. So with a little bit of care, you could disconnect the tracks from the undercarriage and replace them with suitable metal tracks to make it look better. The undercarriage features a recovery hook at the front and an interesting nest of hydraulic lines leading to the drive motors. Transitioning into the detailing of this model, as we can see, the model is finished off quite nicely and has some decent detailing. Up top we can see some various photo etched surfaces simulating vents and various walkways, although they are somewhat overly simplified. As you can see on the side, there is some more metal venting as well. As you can see, the decal is a wraparound and it looks decent from afar. However, as you look closer, the thickness of the decal obscures some of the details in the counterweight. Moving on to the side, we can see a nice metal etched walkway and some anti-slip texturing casted into the piece. Again, on top there are the overly simplified vents and surfaces. In addition, there's a rather confusing access ladder with no rungs whatsoever. However, there is a silvered mirror right there. The model also features some pretty decent hydraulic line detailing. The painting on the cab looks quite nice, however the interior leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of detailing. It's really just the seat and two oversized travel levers that look better placed in the 1970s. So what are my final impressions on this model? In my opinion, this model is nice, however it could have been a lot nicer for the price that they're being offered at. Now there are certain components, mainly the undercarriage, that do look particularly odd on this model when you display it in certain positions. The undercarriage as a whole does seem to look a little bit oversized. In addition, the Mass Excavator boom stick and bucket do look a little bit questionably shaped. And the decaling, depending on how you look at it, can be seen as a detractor to some. Now, the model is finished quite nicely, however, it just doesn't seem to look quite right, which is quite unfortunate, as a lot of time and effort did go into development of this piece. There does come a certain uniqueness, as the 350, unlike its larger brother, the 375, never received a scale model. So likely this is as good as it gets without having to build your own or commission someone to build you one, which is by no means inexpensive. So if you are looking for a 350 to fill a gap in your collection, this may or may not be the right way to go. You could be better off building the model from scratch, commissioning someone to build it for you, starting from the kit and modifying as you go along, just purchasing this model, or not even purchasing one at all. It all depends on what you're comfortable with paying. While it is impossible to find the model without any flaws, I would have preferred much fewer flaws for the price that the model was offered at. With that being said, sometimes the only way to ensure the model is to your liking is to take it into your own hands. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this review, and for those of you out there that were on the fence about this model, I hope this helped you as well, as I have not seen any reviews of this model anywhere else. Again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this review, and we'll see you all in the next video.